Let's talk about one of the most important, but maybe one of the most invisible technologies that powers our entire digital world, the database. Seriously, it's the silent engine behind pretty much everything you do online, and its story is, well, it's pretty fascinating. So think about it for a second. What on earth could your bank account, your social media feed, and whatever streaming app you're binging on possibly have in common? They all rely on the exact same fundamental concept, a smart way to organize just unimaginable amounts of information. To really get why databases are such a big deal, we have to rewind. Let's go way back, before a single line of code was ever written, because there was this very real, very analog problem that people were desperate to solve. Before we had digital storage, the world literally ran on paper. And the original database? It was the humble index card. I mean, whether you were cataloging library books, keeping track of recipes, or managing business contacts, you were wrestling with the same exact challenge. How do you store, sort, and then find information without it taking forever? This super simple physical system really shows you the basic need that databases were eventually born to solve. Okay, let's jump forward now to the 1960s. This is when things start to get interesting. The invention of magnetic disks. This was huge because it allowed computers to find data directly instead of having to read through a whole tape. That was the breakthrough that made the very first digital databases possible. So these first attempts were called navigational databases. And a good way to think of them is like a really, really strict library. To find a book, you couldn't just look it up. You had to follow a very rigid path. Go to this floor, then down that specific aisle to find that exact shelf. The data was all connected using these things called pointers, which were literally the physical addresses on a disk. I mean, they worked, sure, but they were incredibly rigid and ridiculously complex. You had to tell the computer exactly how to find the data, not just what data you were looking for. A huge difference. And that right there created a brand new problem. On one side, you had this tangled, messy web of pointers, a system so complex and rigid that you needed expert programmers just to get anything out of it. But on the other side, a truly revolutionary new idea was starting to bubble up, one that was based on clean, simple tables, and this amazing ability to search for data just by what it was. This brings us to the 1970s, and well, a total game changer. The solution came from a single IBM researcher who was just deeply unsatisfied with how complicated and clunky everything was. And that researcher was Edgar F. Codd. His core frustration, as you can see, was pretty simple. You couldn't just search for stuff. For businesses, this was a massive roadblock. You couldn't ask a simple question like, hey, show me my best-selling products. Nope. You had to write a complex, step-by-step map for the computer to follow. And this simple frustration, it would spark a revolution in how we think about data. Codd's idea was just so elegant and powerful. He said, instead of all these complex, interconnected records, why don't we just organize data into a series of simple tables? Kind of like an accountant's ledger. Each table holds one type of thing, customers or products or orders, and the relationships between them would be based on the data itself, not some rigid physical pointer. And this table is a perfect example. It's clean, it's totally intuitive, and each user has a unique primary key, that user ID. Think of it like a unique serial number for that piece of data. It's this simple little mechanism that lets you link this table to, say, a table of purchases, all without creating that tangled mess we saw before. Now, to talk to these new relational databases, a new language was created, SQL, or Structured Query Language. And the critical difference, the thing that changed everything, is that with SQL, you just tell the database what you want. Show me all the users from California. The system figures out the how, all on its own. This was a massive, massive leap forward. So the relational model, it became the foundation for basically everything that followed. But then, as the world started moving online, the demands we put on databases just exploded. They were forced to evolve at this absolutely breathtaking pace. The 1980s brought databases to our desktops. Then the 90s gave us object-oriented databases to handle more complex types of data. But the 2000s changed the whole game. The sheer scale of websites like Google and Amazon just broke the traditional relational model. They needed something new, something built for immense traffic and global scale. And that led to the rise of NoSQL, databases that often traded the strict structure of tables for just raw speed and flexibility. As databases started to spread across servers all over the world, they ran into this fundamental law called the CAP theorem. It's kind of geeky, but the idea is simple. You can only guarantee two out of these three things at once: consistency, meaning everyone sees the same data at the same time; availability, meaning the system always answers; and partition tolerance, meaning it still works even if parts of the network go down. You can't have all three. So designers have to make choices. A bank, for example, it has to choose consistency every single time.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. From those little index cards to massive global networks, this whole journey has led us to one place, this invisible engine that is powering nearly every single aspect of your life right now.
Seriously, every time you book a flight, check your bank balance, buy something online, or stream a movie, yep, you're talking to a database. Your social media feed is just a constant stream of queries to a database. The entire digital economy, from finance to entertainment, it's all built on top of these amazing systems of organized information.
So why does any of this matter? Because databases are the absolute critical step that transforms this chaotic flood of raw data into information that is accessible, manageable, and actually useful. Without them, the internet would just be a giant pile of disconnected facts, like a library where someone just threw all the books on the floor in a big heap.
This entire story, from a simple index card to the global cloud, has really been about one thing: our unstoppable drive to organize data. Each era brought a new challenge, and each time a new, brilliant idea rose up to meet it. Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question. What's the problem we're trying to solve right now? And what's going to be the next revolutionary idea?